Excuse me, can I please talk to you for a minute?
Sure. You know, you look kind of familiar.
Yeah, you do too. I just wanted to know, do you know a podcast named The Podcast Is Mine?
Oh, I know that podcast.
I just wanted to let you know that it's mine.
No, it's mine. Hello, and welcome to The Podcast Is Mine. I'm Bhushan Kumar.
And I'm Sunny Grohl.
Hey, Sunny, how's it going?
Good. I'm so glad that we're getting more freedom to spend time outside with people.
Yes, it's slowly but surely we are inching towards a world we once knew.
Oh, God, we've all been needing it.
I know. But you know, I'm so excited about today's episode. So do you know what? I'm going to go right ahead and check your seatbelt is fastened.
Oh, my
Is
goodness.
your seat in the upright position?
Indeed.
And all your possessions.
I'm ready to
have
brace.
And have you stored all your possessions in the overhead cabin? Just making sure, because we've got such an action-packed episode. So I'm going to go right ahead and open a new tab on the Diary of a Zone 1 Ho.
I forgot it's digital now, isn't it?
Exactly.
We don't have the old heavy leather-bound book.
So that's in a Berlin sex museum. So I think
we're going to visit one day.
Yeah, exactly. Once lockdown is over, we'll be able to all go and see it, which is wonderful. So anyway, so today I wanted to talk about, for the Diary of a Zone 1 Ho, I want to talk about the drama that everyone's been talking about in 2021. Not Harry and Meghan.
Oh, no.
We're going to come to that because did I ever tell you that I was born in the same hospital as Harry's brother? I mean, I don't know if I've ever mentioned it on the podcast. So if you're playing your drinking game, that's your sign to take a sip of water.
It means that you're going to be wasted.
By the end, exactly, by in 5 minutes time. No, I wanted to talk today about It's a Sin.
Yes.
Which has been a huge drama. So for those who don't know, It's a Sin is a British television drama serial. It was written and created by Russell T Davies. So he's known for doing Doctor Who, Queer as Folk, Cucumber, Years and Years. Banana as well, yeah. And it was a 5-part series set in 1981 and goes all the way to 1991 in London, and depicts the lives of a group of gay men and their friends who lived during the HIV/AIDS crisis in the United Kingdom at the time. And it stars Olly Alexander from Years and Years. So now, Sunny, this was one thing I remember about this is that you texted me to watch this, which is really rare because normally I text you to watch everything.
I think I'm trying to remember how I'd first heard about it. It was on the radio. I heard a little advert and I thought, oh, okay, Ollie's doing a new show. And I have been a huge Years and Years fan, like for years and years. And I thought, okay, I didn't know he could act, but let's give it a whirl. And I was so happy that they had explored this, but it's a topic that, I don't know, it's quite sensitive, isn't it? Especially I feel like from our generation, there wasn't anything that we didn't have any kind of direct experience of it because we were too young to really understand what was going on. I mean, I only really knew about it from the 90s growing up, having some awareness, and I would say the late 90s of having some awareness of what it was. And I'm talking about HIV and AIDS mainly because I remember one day my dad donates blood quite regularly, and I remember seeing at the kind of corner of the card it said something like, if you've ever had sex with a gay man, you cannot donate blood at all. Right. And I just thought, what? I was like, and then I realized, I was like, oh, it's because of HIV, so you must automatically have HIV as soon as you have sex with a man. I just assumed that was it. So it was nice that obviously since then I've learned that's not the case. But then it was so interesting to have a show explores a concept that probably is not familiar to people because it would be, predate their existence. So I was glad that they explored it, and I'm glad that you watched it as well, and I got to recommend something to you.
I know, for one. But what did you think of the drama overall? Like,
so I thought I came away really enjoying it, and I thought this is a fun show. That's not a fun show, sorry. More a show that kind of explored a really tough topic, but I didn't really love the acting by Ollie. He's a really great singer. Yeah, I think he was a little bit out of his depth when it comes to the acting, but I'm glad that they brought someone in that was gay, because it was better to have this story told by a queer writer, and also played by a queer cast. So that was what I was really pleased with. So I didn't dwell on the kind of his performance as much as a lot of my friends were, but I liked the fact that they had explored all these tough topics, but it just felt really rushed. I don't think 5 episodes was enough to kind of unpack a huge crisis that it kind of made me relate to all of the things that we were going through with COVID. It sounds really, it's a completely different pandemic, but the level of seriousness is obviously way greater. I think this with COVID, obviously, it just has a greater reach. But it made me think, wow. I remember when I was starting to see some of my friends after lockdown was kind of opening up, and how they'd be a little bit like distant because they knew I was seeing friends, and I thought, shit, is that how do people feel when they had something that was like HIV or AIDS? And there's all that stigma around it, which is, it really, really crippled my as a confidence, I suppose, sexually, because I always thought, oh my goodness, if you have sex with anyone gay, then you are going to have HIV. Yeah. And it was always treated as a death sentence. And that's one thing I wish that it kind of explored a little bit more in terms of the progress that had been made over the last few years. Because, well, not even last few years, last probably a couple of decades, in terms of the science has moved forward so much. People that have HIV can live with it very healthily and live same length of time as anyone else. They will not pass that on if they are medicated. And people can also take medications such as PrEP, so that can prevent the contraction of HIV. So there's so much progress that was made, and I just wish they'd done some kind of one little 5-minute segment after an episode just to say this is a progress that's made, because I felt worried that maybe some communities may read that and think, oh my god, gay people, they just have sex and they just get HIV. I know it's a depiction of something that happened 20, 30 years ago, but 30 years ago, but still I do worry that there could be some ignorant people. But then, funnily enough, when I spoke to a lot of my friends that are straight and not from that world, I'm not saying that it's exclusively a gay disease, but that's how it was kind of badged. I just feel like they were very positive about the show, and it made me think, okay, it's my probably fear and anxiety growing up with this stigma of HIV that's made me feel like everyone still feels this way, but they don't.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I think you've hit on so many excellent points there, that there is so much prejudice and misinformation surrounding HIV and AIDS. And like yourself, I was the same, where I remember those scary adverts when I was younger, and I remember once it was on the news about the AIDS epidemic, and I think as well, like, the show did have a kind of responsibility that so many people, this would be their first kind of introduction to what happened at that time. For me personally, because I'd seen 2 dramas on the same topic. So one is HBO's The Normal Heart, which is with Jim Parsons and Mark Ruffalo, and it's set in America. It's very, very good. I highly recommend it. Okay. And it focuses, because in It's a Sin, they do talk about how it's the American disease, and it come over.
Yes.
So over in The Normal Heart, they kind of look at how the disease kind of like grew, and then how Reagan refused to kind of look into it or do anything to help those suffering from it. And it's a lot more about the kind of technicality and then the human cost as well. That's not to say It's a Sin didn't have that. I mean, episodes 3 and 5. So if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it, but
sorry, I didn't.
No, we didn't spoil
it.
Yeah, no, but just in case you haven't seen it and you are going to, and we highly recommend you do watch it.
Watch it. It's worth seeing.
Episodes 3 and 5, the emotional tracks in those were really, really moving and engaging, and really kind of like it was those were like when the drama in my mind really succeeded. Yeah. And there's also another excellent drama which not a lot of people know about, called Don't Ever Wipe Tears Away Without Gloves.
No, I thought you were going to say a different one. Okay, interesting. Yeah.
So this is a Swedish drama about the AIDS crisis, and it's set in the same time as It's a Sin. It was on BBC4 years ago. I don't know who's got it at the moment. I'll try and have a look and see if I can share it on our socials. But that is perhaps the definitive drama that I've seen on the subject, because it covers a lot of what you were saying, but it presents it in such an amazing way. It's one of the most moving things I've ever seen. So I really enjoyed it, and I think it was. I'm so glad that it was like a conversation starter, and so many people, like even my mum, watched, volunteered to watch it, and that.
Oh God, not the end of the first episode.
The first, so awkward.
You warned me about that, didn't you? I think you started watching it before I did.
So I was watching it on. I watched the first episode on the telecast, and there's an awkward scene, like about 20 minutes in. My mum was watching it with me as well, and that would be. I swear I couldn't find the remote control. It was so awkward. It was like Game of Thrones all over again. It was like, oh my gosh. But then what I did is I watched it kind of online, because they released all the episodes,
which is so refreshing. I'm glad they did that.
And then I got to watch, and then they played an episode each week, so I was watching it kind of so I watched it twice, and it was a really kind of good way to watch it, because I do think I mean the emotional impact hits every time. Also, one other thing I want to say, so you touched on there was only 5 episodes, so originally it was meant to be an 8-episode arc, and so Russell T Davies did this interview, and he was saying, I actually wanted 8 episodes, and Channel 4 said no, we'll give you
What?
4.
Why?
And then they managed to find. Well, it's ridiculous, really, because 8 episodes would have made so much more sense. And
it felt that didn't it? I felt like there were things were rushed. The characters didn't really get explored in in terms of Jill. Love, it was Jill, wasn't it?
Jill, the girl. Yeah,
I really liked how she was shown as that kind of nurturing carer, supporter character, but it frustrated me how she didn't have anything about herself. I know she had that OCD for a little while, and she was obviously doing a lot of campaigning, and it was just like, give these people a little bit of room to grow. It was just that really made it.
It was a bit
rushed.
one-dimensional.
It was all about Ollie's character in Central Arc, and I just thought he's not the best actor, and they're propping him up. So it's like, it's not enough.
And the only other thing I'd say is as well, the ethnic minorities. There was that scene in the first episode, Ash the Indian,
which is good. I'm glad they had that.
I'm glad it felt a bit tokenistic to me in the sense that I would have liked to have learned more. There's a character where he's like, oh, are you Hindu? Or are you, and it was kind of, I just thought to myself, come on, Russell, you can do better than that. Fair, maybe people have that ignorance, but
especially in the 80s.
In the 80s, but you now have a choice here where you could say lines where you can you could have made it different.
You could have explored it.
You didn't need to do that. That was a bit lazy on his part. And I would, and also the black character, I've forgotten his name. He, they were showing
such a funny opening, wasn't it? His bit.
The whole thing about his family's a preacher, and there's this kind of I don't know, there was something about it which was this is stereotypes 101, and that really irritated me, because I thought to myself, you know what, you could have made, better now.
You could have broken boundaries, because didn't he, with Queer as Folk, challenge everyone with a new concept that had never been explored? I mean, I've still not seen Queer as Folk. I've seen the L Word. It's such a bad case.
I've seen a couple of episodes of Queer as Folk, and I remember for its time, I remember seeing the posters, and I remember how much press was generated about it. But I've not actually seen it. Maybe it's something we could look into and talk about at a later date.
Yeah, we need to get on it.
But so it's a sin. So it's on All 4 in the UK. Perfect. And it's on HBO in the US.
Wow, this is what surprised me. I thought when I heard HBO, this has got money behind it, but
and I'm surprised the HBO influence wasn't there, but it was.
We did like it. It's worth watching.
It's worth watching, and there's plenty more in that genre as well. So we advise you to explore it. Yeah. But can you believe that's not our main attraction today?
Oh my
so
gosh.
What I'm going to do is I'm just going to. So this is auto save, which is great.
Let's just change the tab so it's completely silent.
Change the tab, and let's move to our feature presentation. Okay, so it's time for our main feature now. So when it comes to iconic albums, it cannot get any more iconic than Destiny's Child, The Writings on the Wall. Sonny is moving, rolling that neck around like he's in the Say My Name video. Like, what? So The Writings on the Wall was released on the 27th of July, 1999. And this innovative album was an instant classic on release, with an incredible lineup of anthems that have come to define the genre, and a roster of top producers and writers that reads like a who's who of R&B and hip-hop music. But making history is never easy. Behind the scenes, there was a lot of drama and power play going on, plus a changing of the guard that remains unrivaled to this day. Not even the Sugar Babes playing musical chairs could compare to this, let me tell you. Strangely, it seems that what was taking place within the band was at odds with the progressive message that the album conveys. So it is time for TPIM to go Dark Child, 9-9, and take it to the bridge. Thou shall not underanalyze. I love that. So, Sandy, this album, oh my God, this is something that we've been talking about for years on end. Yeah. No one should be surprised. So if you're playing the drinking game, this came up in the Wagamama dinner conversation. If you know, you know. So where and when did you first hear The Writings on the Wall?
So I think I first heard about the album coming when I listened and heard the single Bills, Bills, Bills.
Oh,
because that was the initial release. I remember thinking, I didn't really know. I'd heard of Destiny's Child because of No, 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 the remix.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, and Get on the Bus.
Get on the Bus.
And I thought, oh my goodness, who are these guys? And then I remember when it was Bills with Bills, I thought, oh my goodness, I love this production. It was that late 90s, we've got to set the scene, haven't we? Late 90s, early 2000s, poppy R&B, really sassy, kind of
slick,
men bashing, Candy Burris all over it in terms of lyrics, with these sick songs. And I remember thinking, I cannot wait for this album. It's going to be so good. And this was back, I don't know know if they do this these days. I think the album's really ready to go before, as soon as the single comes out.
Yeah.
But that was when you had to wait for the album. So I'm sure Bills came out a little bit earlier. So then someone at school we were in the drama room. It sounds like another room I've talked to you about.
Yeah,
we'll bring up
exactly.
in another conversation. But the drama room, which I don't even know why we had, because we didn't have drama lessons. I love it. We had like mirrors on the wall and stuff, but there was a girl that had the album, the CD, and I think that was probably the first time I heard it in class, and we were like, I was just remember just melting, thinking every song was just nailing it, and oh my god, we can talk about some of the tracks, but that was my first kind of like experience, and I was so excited and hooked.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, it's very in the same way as yourself. Like, I remember hearing Bills, and being, this song just spoke. This song said so much more than what it actually says. So this is not they said what they said, and they said some more.
Oh, damn.
You know, this really was a read between the lines. And I remember that there was, it's quite funny, on the week of release, so it would be about July or something. So I'd finished my A-levels. So I remember there was like a long summer ahead. And I remember there was this shop near school. So back then I used to buy, we used to buy music from like, yeah, exactly. Physically, you had to go to the record store. So I'd go to like HMV or Our Price. But for some reason in Shepherd's Bush, like there was like, this is like West 12 Arcade, which has been completely pimped out now. No. But the West 12 Arcade, there's like, seriously, there's nothing to see there, let me tell you. It's just like a JD, a Poundland, and Aldi. I remember there was this record shop, and this guy used to sell CDs, and there was no posters, nothing up, no music played for a music store, which was weird. And he used to sell CDs for £10, like full albums, and it was always like, oh, maybe they're bootlegged, maybe he like had a colour printer and printed out the copy. But no, this was the actual real deal, and I don't know how he used to get it so cheap. So do you know there was 3 albums that I bought from that store? One was Spice World by Spice Girls.
That year as well?
So this was the year before that had opened. Yeah. The other was Never Say Never by Brandy.
We unpicked this
because that was £10, and then this was the third one, Writings on the Wall. And I just remember listening to it, and this was like one of the, like Never Say Never, this was a no skip album. I did not hit skip. I was just literally, oh, I love this, oh, I love this, oh, I love, and then there's like this gorgeous run of songs from like, I think it's from like
so which are your highlights? Tell me some of your highlights.
So I mean, obviously Bills, Bugaboo.
Oh,
I really like Confessions as well.
You know, some of the slower songs which they didn't release, when they nailed it.
Well, this is the thing. Every single song on this could have been like a single release. It would have been absolutely amazing. I just remember like listening to it through summer '99, waiting for A-level results, and it was just incredible. It was just like it really took you to another world. And like, I love how every song has got like a story in it.
Yes.
The storytelling is like, even without a visual, just the music tells you, like, if you think of like Bills, like, is there like a dun, 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 dun. It's kind of like this suspicious. It's so smart, like, and it really builds up. Like, it's just so amazing.
What's hilarious about that video is, remember they were in the salon, weren't they? And there was that salon that had the waiting room that was like carved into the ground.
Yeah.
So I remember feeling so anxious watching the video, thinking someone's gonna fall in that.
Health and safety.
I was like, there's no glass panel around it. I was like, I know it's a music video, but I couldn't disconnect from the health and safety issue.
But I mean, what a genius move. I mean, like the videos are like kind of amazing in themselves.
Best of those videos at that time.
Yeah, because like, it's such a clever idea to put that song in a hairdresser's, and I love that there's no men in the video as well. It's entirely women.
It's just at the beginning there is, when she's
he pops by, doesn't he? Yeah.
And then when they're doing you tried the land, and they're in the background on the phone and stuff.
Oh yeah. See, this is the thing. I don't even think about that, because I just love like the kind of chorus because all the other women in the store, they know what she's talking about.
There's wig snatching going on in that video.
Instead, should have found a baller or something, and everyone's like, "Yep, you should have." Like, but I love that kind of sense of community. And that, like, I know you were saying it was man bashing, and it is, but I think at that time
it was empowering.
It was so empowering, because don't you think at that time it was all about kind of, do you remember there's like Cisco with Thong Song, and there's so much objectification of women, and it still is.
He's gay, and he still hasn't come out.
Exactly. But the whole objectification of it all, and then this kind of came as a breath of fresh air, where it's kind of like, excuse me, what about the man? Why is he using all my money and acting like he's really bad, or why is he driving and my favorite line is when she's in Bills, is when she's like, when the bill comes, you have to be, and he's acting all dumb, and he's like, that's your mum's name is down there on the bill. Because remember when you used to get itemized bills and the numbers were there, and I love that she knows his mum's number as well. Like, it's so
good. The lyrics are so like sassy, and it's so of that era of like. If we think about another, we may need to unpick another album. I've just realized Fan Mail, TLC.
Oh,
it's of that era. It's like that no scrubs because Candy wrote Bills, Bills, Bills.
Yeah.
didn't they?
Oh my God.
And she nailed it again. It was like she did No Scrubs, and there's so many songs.
I'm Pretty. And what was that song?
Oh, I loved
What's
I'm
the song that used to
Pretty.
come on before No Scrubs? There's track number 5 or 4. I can't remember what it's called. But there's this like it starts all really sweet, and then it goes into this hard rap. And
Oh,
then
you're gonna
it's
have to remind. We are unpacking that album
where we
because
are-
I love that. But it's that era.
pop it
isn't
on the manifesto, girl.
But what other thing that reminds me, it cracks me up, is this is kind of coming out of the cassette tape era into CD, because it's very common from those kind of late 90s albums where they have a little bit of an intro, and we'll talk
Yes.
about those intros, but also a little bit of chat, and that doesn't work when you're doing random.
Yeah.
Because I remember listening to the disc thinking, I don't want to hear this again. I just hit the get to the song. Stop doing this. And I remember having a cassette player still at the time, and you remember just forwarding past and you'd missed the bit, and I was
You
like,
have to go,
oh. But that was hilarious. Can we talk about these little kind of
the interludes.
the rules? Because the whole concept of the album is, because I didn't really understand it when I first heard about the name, the writings on the wall. I was like, what does that really mean? And it's like, it's so obvious.
Yeah.
And it's like a list of commandments, effectively, the whole album in terms of rules to follow. And yes, so tell us about what they kind of did in between some of the songs.
So there was that, just like you said, the whole commandments. There's this whole kind of like religious kind of element to it. Like it is kind of like biblical kind of, the commandments. Thou
And
shalt
Mob
not.
as
And
well
Mob.
at the big-
Yeah, and then also like Beyonce doing like a Marlon Brando. It's like, oh my God.
Cringe. You know what? I feel so old when I look back, because I remember at the time thinking this is so cool, and now I look at it and I'm like, they are so lame.
Do you know what? I still love it because I think it adds so much character. And
It
also,
does.
the thing is as well, it's one of those things where you're kind of watching it and you're thinking, oh God, what is this going to be? And then it comes out with like, all these amazing songs. And like, you're like, if I just switched off after 30 seconds, I would have missed out on an entire education.
You know, that was seriously, we all needed that. But that intro, and that's the other thing, you couldn't skip that intro. You would always have to listen to it.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. Eventually, because like I said, it's like a story. It was like you couldn't just jump into
no random. You had to listen in order.
You had to listen in order, and you had to kind of like, if you were going to do the album, I mean, until like you could, sometimes like if you were in a rush, you could listen to your favorite songs.
I did that sometimes. On repeat.
Or if you had the time, like we had back then, you could just like you just wanted to listen to it all. But I love all the commands. So like, should we go through them?
Let's go through some of them.
So there's the first one is "Thou shalt not hate,"
and that would come right before. It would kind of intro the song effectively and kind of give you the essence and sentiment of what the rule is and the commandment is. And that came just before. So good! How good is so good? And you know what's so funny? I was listening to it in the gym before I met you. And I remember while I was on my phone, I was kind of reading the news a little bit in between, and it was talking about the vaccine rollout. I thought, you know what? It's almost, I mean, I am a Remainer. I am a strong Remainer. Yeah. But I almost felt a little bit like, now that the vaccine worked, it's almost like the UK is singing to the EU. So good. Because if you listen to the lyrics and think about the vaccine rollout, it describing the story. Don't you think it's like, hey, how you doing, man? I'm doing my fine.
Oh my God!
Please.
That is the twist. That is a unique. That is trademarked by the Podcaster's Mind. That is a twist that no one saw coming, and we exclusively own that. So don't be popping it out there because Sunny said it first.
We need to play that with. I mean, I'm a Remainer, but we get so much flack about COVID, and I just think we were the ones that were the guinea pig. I mean, I know Israel and other countries did too, but we took a chance,
and we are so good at it.
We are so good.
Oh dear.
God. Anyway, so that was one of the intros. So do you want to pick up?
This could actually, this whole thing could have been like the EU Remainer. Like I'm totally thinking about the album in a different light now.
Just think about Brexit.
It's like this album has just got a whole new level. Like, I love like the next one is "Thou shalt not pay bills," and that's part of that. Sorry, "Thou shalt pay bills," and it's like that's what the EU were asking, and that's what the UK wouldn't do, and like, oh my God. But that is "Thou shalt pay bills" is like the best, one of my favorite commandments.
Oh, it's so.
So I just love that, the Destiny Child is, you need to be equal in this relationship.
Yes.
And that means equal in every sense. You can't just be like, spending my money and then like running up my credit card and then just being like, oh, I don't know how that got there. It's like, bitch, you did it.
Your mom and Sam's here more than once. Or maybe laugh is with that song. What was interesting is we obviously listened to the full lyrics. People that would have maybe caught a bit of the catchphrase or maybe went into that genre would have assumed, oh my God, can you just pay my bills?
Yeah.
And that's what actually inspired, I don't want to go off topic, but it inspired their Independent Woman song. Because they were like, people were saying, oh, you know, you want us to pay, we want men to pay our bills. We weren't saying that. And if you listen to the lyrics, they clearly explain, look, I'm making my money and you're just spending my money. You're not contributing. Let it be equal. Let it be a little bit of, you know, equality. And that's the sentiment that was missed, I think, if you didn't actually listen to the lyrics.
Of course. I mean, that's such an excellent point you've come to, because Destiny's Child had to work again, like Survivor as well, like, which is not on this album, but it's such a song about adversity. It's because they had to go through it. Like, I remember reading
put people through it.
They put well, yeah, we're going to come to that in a bit.
Yeah.
But the whole thing about, like, I remember designers wouldn't want to lend the girls clothes, so that's why
Tina Knowles.
That's why Tina.
You are Tina Knowles.
I am Tina Knowles.
Oh my gosh.
Tina Auntie had to get the sewing machine out, and she had to sew them their like suits and their churidars and their and their dupattas and all of that. Like, you know, literally, it's like we've only got one dupatta between four of you, so one of you is getting a handkerchief top.
I mean, I don't really probably know what a dupatta is.
The dupatta is like a large scarf, like a
chunni.
A chunni, yeah,
Okay,
chunni,
fine,
dupatta. It's just like a large scarf. It's often worn with like a long shirt and trousers, traditionally. But like, you know, Destiny's Child, like Tina Auntie took it to the next level. She made those little handkerchief tops, like, you know. So it was so funny. I loved that. If you were a busty girl in that time, you got given the halter neck, or you got given the bustier to keep the boys in. But if you were a less kind of busty girl,
which is very on brand now,
very on brand now, like you could wear the so for example, if in our duo you'd wear the handkerchief top and I'd get the bustier. Just to keep everything in control, but they would be the same fabric, and like, you know,
just like a variation.
Variation. So if you're wearing leather, I'm wearing leather. If you're wearing paisley, I'm wearing paisley.
That was, you know, when you think about the video, I'm thinking of Bills again. Yeah. They were ridiculous. The colors and the outfit. It was like very like it popped, but it worked for the time.
It still looks good.
I think they look wicked. I mean,
the pastel colors and this color, like I was watching the videos, and I remember watching them at the time and thinking, this is so glossy and so slick and so ridiculous. Yeah. But now watching it in the 20s, I'm like, oh my God, I'm completely inspired by this. Like, the looks are so well thought out. Even the shoes, like, you know, the whole idea of like the kind of I remember there's there's string,
the
strappy types, the ones that you tie up the leg, and it's kind of like, it could almost be symbolic of like, you know, how the bills are like constraining the. I mean, there's so much, like, there's so many elements like that. It's
really cleverly thought out.
And then also, like, if you think about the trends as well, like, you know, the black hair trends and makeup, and again, like, the makeup looks so good, because I'm thinking in
Kelly's
that time
hair as well. Kelly's hair
was amazing.
Loved it.
It's just so good. But you know, so this I think leads us on.
We haven't said one very important thing, have we?
Yeah, exactly. So what is the best song on the album, and why is it Say My Name?
Oh God.
I am not taking any discourse on this. You know, judge rules are like, 100%. You know, Say My Name is the best song on this album.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, I will fight you to the death, or anyone to the death who says otherwise.
I agree with you. I will join that.
If they cannot say my name, then, like, you know, I was just trying to remember the lyrics. I totally blanked.
No one is around you. No, but it's, oh my goodness, it is. I think it's still my favorite song by Beyonce, Destiny's Child. I mean, I say by Beyonce because, to be honest, this album
there were 5 other girls.
Oh God! But this video and this song, I remember. So when I first heard the album, I mean, even though there were so many bangers on this album, I replayed that song again and again and again and again, and I loved. So we're coming off the back of Never Say Never, because that was '98. Yeah. And this was another production by Dark Child 99.
Of course.
Which I always thought he was saying nah.
No, it's 99 girl.
I know, I've heard. So I think every time Beyonce sees Dark Child, she always says Dark Child 99.
99, yeah.
And I just thought, this is my favourite producer. I'm so excited. And he completely nailed this production. And did you know a little bit of backstory about the production of this song? And
no, tell me.
You know, I'm going to do a quick quiz. Which girl band from the similar time actually inspired the production of the song?
Oh, really? Was it R&B girl band, or
just any band? Just
Saints.
Oh my God, they were not R&B. Oh my God.
No, I do love All Saints.
No, you know they were.
Yeah, we saw them. Remember, we saw them at the Mighty Hoopla.
We did. That was so long ago.
I know, and we just got our food at the same time. Lol. Oh my God. Which girl band? Can you give me a clue? Is it a US girl band?
So you've kind of mentioned them already.
Oh, hi.
You have.
TLC.
Spice Girls.
Spice Girls. Really?
Can you believe this?
Oh
the
my gosh.
story is, and you know what, we need to tag a link to this because there's so much stuff. Rodney Jerkins, who's Dark Child, the producer.
You say his name fully. Okay.
You know what?
We're talking about say my name.
You know
exactly.
What, this is sacred.
Look at you taking shortcuts. Scrub like you don't know what a man's about. Honestly.
And
Thou shalt say his full name.
He did an interview and he talked about loads of iconic moments in his career because he has had such a long career. He's worked with Britney Spears and everyone, like all the big names.
Yeah.
And he basically was talking about how he was in the UK, he was in a club with the Spice Girls, and he was like remembering that there was like it was at the time when there was like loads of house and garage music.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh my god, I love this, like I need to take this sound back to America. So he went back and he was recording with Destiny's Child, and he was like, this is that, you know, I'm going to bring this sound to the US. And then he started producing the song, and Destiny's Child heard it and they were like, we hate it. And it had a two-step beat, and they were like, this, we love the song but the production is awful. So he was obviously really upset, but he was like, that's it, I'm going to go back and I'm going to reproduce this song. He apparently spent a lot of time redoing the track, and he said that it's his favorite track that he's produced to date. And he did incredible, and I'm so glad that he went back to the drawing board, because this song, you can tell that there was a lot of effort behind the production, and Beyonce's vocals on this song, they are nailing it.
They are amazing. And doesn't that speak to his talent as a producer and the caliber of producers and talent that was on this album, that he was able to go back and it's a common thing, I imagine, in a creative sphere like that, like, you know, like Candy as well. I'm sure she must have got so many times where artists saying, oh, I don't like this, go and write it again. But to be able to go back and then to be able to rework it and stuff, that is an art form in itself, and that's a real skill. And like, in fact, that Rodney Jerkins can do that. Sorry, Rodney Jerkins 99. Pardon me.
Your pardon.
But that, oh my god, that is amazing. And like, but this song is just so, I mean, every time I listen to it, not only it's just so empowering, and it's just such an affirmation as well. Like, again, if we go into the storytelling of it, how she's like, she you know, even the kind of like music backs her up with it, where it's like this like niggling suspicion that, oh, did something's not right today. Like, normally you'll ask me how was my day and stuff, but today you're not. And it's like kind of, and also it goes straight into the story as well. There's no foreplay, nothing. No. She's just like, you know, if you're messing me around, you know, I'm not one to sit around and be played. So prove it now, or just like, you know, out the door, mate. And I just think it's such a power. And you want to laugh at this. I remember once a long time ago at work, I had an appraisal, and I remember this was the song I listened to before I went in. And the appraisal, my manager had just put it down for like 10 minutes. It ended up being 40 minutes, because I was like singing my own praises, like, you know, I will not be taken down. You know, if you want to pay for this, you want me to do this, you need to pay me to do this, blah blah. And it's all down to this song, because the song given me so much kind of like gumption and kind of like, you know, believe in yourself, value yourself, and at the same time as well, because it, you know, it released like when we were teenagers, and like our self-esteem was still kind of being formed, and who we were was still being formed,
and what we expected,
and then to listen to a song like this which tells you don't take second best, you know, you've got to believe in yourself. You've got, and the thing is, like, no, there's no point in the song where they actually say believe in yourself or do.
It's just a sentiment, isn't it?
It's all in third.
Did she sing that to Jay-Z?
Girl, you're gonna get a shadow band, honestly. Tidal is going to be right up our ass and be like, all right, let's take them off the platforms.
No, we love it. But you know, the lyrics are so clever and witty. But what makes me laugh is, again, it feels like when I listen back, because I always go back to this album, but I was listening to it again in preparation for this discussion, and I just thought, you know what, it's aged. It's definitely aged, because when you think about the concept of the song, she's like, baby, say my name. Like, that's the way you had to prove that you were not with someone else. Whereas today, you just say, I'm going to call you on video chat and I'm going to see where you are. Send me a selfie. There was no concept of that.
Well, actually, no, you'd go on social media now.
But back then you couldn't do that.
Oh, yeah, of course. Back then,
this is the way you had to prove it, was you needed to say to someone, you better say my name to prove it. But now it's like, I will see a full image of you in video live.
Look at your doorbell video. See what you've been up to.
And the same with like Bugaboo, when they're talking about, you know,
blocking the AOL, like
blocking the AOL. Oh, that made me laugh.
The pager.
The email. And then when you call me over your best friend's house because the number must have been blocked.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness, the fact that you were calling on a landline is firstly so crazy. But those sort of moments, I just think we're probably never going to get songs written like that now. Oh, we'll cover this stuff. But that was legendary. And that, again, it's the same co-writer of The Boy's Mine, who's deceased. Remember LaShawn Daniels I mentioned to you?
That was really sad.
So yeah, legendary, clearly. Like The Boy's Mine, that, Say My Name, it's like legendary stuff.
That's so funny though. Like, just quickly to what you mentioned though, I like that idea that we're never good. This album, this is why it's so iconic. It's so of that era. And although, yeah, you're right, the kind of references have aged, like, your blocking email and stuff. The sentiment, though, is still very strong, isn't it?
Completely agree.
That, this sentiment, like, we heard this when we were, like, like I said, in our teenage years. And it's something that's carried through, right through to adulthood. Right. And, like, it's going to carry on. Like, even when I'm on, like, my Zimmer frame, I'll be like, say my name. Like, do you know what I mean? Or bills as well. Like, when my carer isn't, like, doing stuff properly, I'll be like, excuse me, say my name. Oh god!
But there's other thing I think we need to talk about, the video.
Yes! Oh my god!
Because this was when this was like a perfect storm, perfect song, perfect band, perfect timing for a drama.
Oh my god! Yes.
What was the backstory of this drama? Because before this we had Bills, then we went to Say My Name. But what changed in between the two?
Right. So now
it's trying to give it a recap.
Exactly. So like previously on Destiny's Child, the writing on the wall. So obviously, for anyone who doesn't know, if you do know this already, just nod along and just be like, and if there's anything you want to add, like, get us up on the socials. But so Destiny's Child actually started out as Girls Time, and so it's formed by Beyonce's dad Matthew, and the band consisted of Beyonce and Beyonce, and that's it, and Beyonce. So it's Beyonce, Kelly Rowland, LaToya, and Latavia. And then they changed their name to Destiny's Child, and then they released obviously No No No, which we talked about, and then that got remixed by Wyclef, and then
that was actually the first song I heard of theirs. Yeah.
I think that's when we all kind of came across them. And then the Writing on the Walls was released, but Latavia and LaToya were not happy because they were like, Beyonce's getting more attention,
which she was definitely getting.
She got favorited,
but she was the star. But come on,
yeah, without a doubt. But it was more, yeah, exactly. There was no denying that she was being center stage. And then they launched it. So Latavia and LaToya were not happy and launched a lawsuit in December 1999. So Bugaboo is the last video that they are in, and they didn't know that they were.
Of course, it was Bugaboo first, wasn't it?
Yeah, right. And they didn't know because until they saw the video on MTV that they were, that was going to be the last one they featured in. So in Say My Name, they've got Michelle Williams and Farrah Franklin.
Yeah, I remember.
Farrah who?
Oh, bless Farrah.
Exactly. And then obviously Jumpin' was the last video to feature Farrah. And then it became the iconic trio that we know and love now. But I mean, do you think that Latavia and LaToya were unfairly treated at the time?
Oh my god, another bloody obvious question. Yeah, it's just like, it was ridiculous. I remember the build up to that video because I was so excited when I heard, because I think it was the MTV era when they were kind of teasing the next song, and I was like, please release that, Say My Name. I needed to be Say My Name. And it was LaToya in an interview with MTV, the US, that we were, because we started to get TRL as well, I'm sure.
Yes.
Copied, like late delivery. And she was like, you're going to look out for our next video, Say My Name. And I thought, yes, the best song. And then the video released, and I was like, who are these two girls in the video? I don't even recognize them, but the song was still bomb. I remember everyone at school was talking about it, and one of my friends, she was like, oh, no, they are in the video. I was like, excuse me, I know the video because I've got it taped. Thank you very much. And I will tell you the breakdown, because she was trying to check me about the song.
She was going to check
exactly. I was like, I've got it taped. Thank you very much. And I was like, there were two new girls in the video, and they intentionally did the video with loads of different random people in there. So no one knew. You couldn't tell that, obviously, could you? Because we were like, who are all these people?
Well, that's the thing. Every 3 seconds, the shot changes. So that the girls will do a movement, and then it changes again.
Describe that. That was the best idea for a video.
That was Pilates, like, telling me to come, pulling me towards it, literally. Like, it was like voguing. It was like, did you just vogue there? I just did. I felt that click there. I was like, what? It was just amazing, the choreography. And also, I like the way that the video is, again, the storytelling, the whole idea of this kind of moving. So everything that she says, every line changes. Yeah. So it's almost like when she's having that conversation with herself, and she's kind of like, if you took there, first of all, like say shot change, costume change, move the body,
hit the beat. And they're just doing random moves. Some of them look so ridiculous, but it's still epic, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Can you imagine in isolation, like, tough day at work? So how was your day at work, honey? Oh, we have to do this video, and we just have to, like, keep moving around every 2 minutes.
You know what? Next time we have a conversation with someone, we should just stop it partway through. We're like, well, then I went to the supermarket.
Next time we're going to record this. Actually,
we are voguing right now.
Every time we say a line, exactly, we're just moving around and falling out my buste.
Oh, God.
But they did. I think the girls really did get a raw deal, which is such a shame. And
they had no idea, did they?
No, and I think it eventually all got settled in 2002 when they agreed to a settlement, and that obviously they must have got like kind of legacy rights or something, where I'm sure they're probably getting money from it now, royalties now. But I mean, I never heard from them again. I've never heard any of their songs. Or
I heard one song by LaToya. She did a solo kind of album a couple of years later, and I think she's like acting and doing Broadway and stuff. So I think she definitely tried. I saw Latavia Robertson on The Real Housewives of Atlanta later season. Oh. She became an alcoholic. She struggled with I think imagine watching that success unfold, because the other thing we've got to contextualize is because most people that are from like another generation are going to be thinking, oh, it's all Beyonce. No, this is pre-Queen Bee era. Yes. This is when it was Destiny's Child, and they were a collective. Even though she was center stage, she was not managed in terms of, she didn't have that media training that she did, because all the time through this entire kind of breakup that they all had, they were like mudslinging in the press a lot. There's so many interviews. Go on YouTube. There are so many brilliant interviews where she is like being really honest about how they didn't want to turn up to work. They had a problem with management and all this kind of stuff. And I thought that would never happen now. Beyonce's media train, they are so militant with controlling. Like, look at Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about it.
We don't know anything. We only know what they want us to know. Put it that way.
And it's too controlled. And I think it was so nice to have it so candid. And I remember in so many interviews at the time of like, there was one that I watched where Kelly's asked about the drama. And I think they got to a stage where they're probably getting sick and tired of being asked the same question. And Kelly says, oh, I saw Latavia in the mall the other day. And Beyonce's like, cut that. We don't want to say her name on camera anymore. It's so embarrassing. Oh, and then there's another one. I'm going to send you. You know what? We need to link some of these because I found another one from back in the day when they're all sat on a bed being interviewed. This is the original 4. And they're all introducing themselves. And Beyonce's at the end. And Kelly introduces her, says, hi, I'm Kelly. I'm the second lead vocalist. And Beyonce pulls his face and goes... She's so shame. You saw her, because the thing is, if we think about Beyonce, she is such an icon, and like she deserves everything. I mean, I know that she was obviously being pushed on stage and it was unfair, but if we think about it, she is clearly an incredibly talented individual.
Oh, absolutely.
And it makes sense that she acted like that at that age, because you got to remember these guys were like late teens, like early 20s.
Well, they were effectively the same age. They are the same age group as us. So we were teenagers. They were teenagers at the time as well, and they had gone through so much. And then also, don't forget, as like women and as black women, they were facing so much prejudice and so much kind of oppression, stereotyping, and trying to break it. I mean, the standard of the album is so high. It's incredible, but the fact that they had to fight for it, and then also this whole drama going on behind as well, it just gives it that edge, doesn't it?
Honestly, that was drama. You would think is bad. I'm sure they were trying to downplay it, but that is literally what kept their names in the press. And also, to be fair, they could back it up because that album was amazing.
Yeah. They've got, there was nothing to be ashamed of on that album at all. So, like, how would you think this album has personally affected and influenced your life?
I mean, it goes back to all that stuff that you said earlier about empowerment. And it sounds funny because I'm not a female, but I love female empowerment. Like, all those kind of eras. Like, I always think about Pink had launched around that time. Can't Take Me Home. That album had there you go. Another Candy song. But all that era, I loved it. It was so, women that were like really standing strong and saying, we are showing our independence, we are showing what we want. And I really, I don't know, it just, being a gay man, I was like really like attracted to that powerful female. And it just, in this album, there was so many songs in there that what really kind of was refreshing is it's not just a love song. They're talking about bills, talking about people being like, too in your face and feeling good after seeing a friend after so good. It's a very different sentiment to the typical love. Every single song is a love song, and that's what I kind of feel like gets you through those other moments of, look, you went into that moderation meeting and you were like, saying my name was giving me empowerment. And that's the kind of album that takes you into like more than one generation and era.
Exactly. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. The emotional connection that we have to this album is incredible. I remember like the first time I went to a nightclub when I was 18, was actually in a club called Limelight in Shaftesbury Avenue. No longer exists. It was like I think it's become like some sort of restaurant now or something. It used to be an old church. And I remember in the club, like it was R&B night, so it was on Tuesday. And I remember I was dancing and like all the songs, they were great songs. I mean, now like, I'd kill to go back to that time because every song, now I realized every single song was a banger. But it was only when Jumpin' Jumpin' came on that I lost my shit because I was like, I know this song. I love this song.
Girl, yeah. You got a man.
And I was with my friend and like we were just going going crazy. And it was literally like, because so many of the situations, like when we talk about the emotional connection, like, you know, so many friends of mine were like, you know, had boyfriends, girlfriends, and they were going through these situations. You know, like someone's boyfriend was like, you know, getting her to pay for everything. Or someone else was like, you know, I don't want my girl going out to the party without me, or I don't. You know,
remembered something, carry on.
And then like, so all of these situations were actually real situations that were going on in our lives, and it was kind of fun. It was fun to relate that song to the situation. So Jumping always reminds me of that time in the club, because I remember like I was like this little wallflower first, and then as soon as Jumping came on, and also like I remember my friend, even she was like, come on, get into this, you love this song. Like, I think during the song, I remember it so well. You know what song had played before Jumping? He Wasn't Man Enough for Me, Tony Braxton. And like there at our school, there had been a teacher who had slept with a pupil, and then I know,
We need to talk about that in the OnlyFans lounge.
Yeah, you know, we haven't plugged our OnlyFans. Oh my god. So I remember that had happened, and then I was like, oh my god, I bet that this teacher went and said that to this guy's girlfriend, because he was dating a girl in sixth form as well, and I was like, oh my god, you know. And I just remember like when Jumping, and then so you know, we would like, I was kind of cracking jokes, but then when Jumping came on, I was performing choreography. I was doing hairography because I had so much more hair there. I was like, you know, I was like, oh, it was just realness. Honestly, you should have seen me. Like, I was like a sight to behold.
It reminds me of, you know, this is the sad thing, because I was still too young to be even thinking about going to clubs.
Bitch, you're only a few years younger than me.
How dare you? I was like so like 10 years
you were just
old.
watching Teletubbies, so like, you know, and watching ANTM as part of your daytime, like, you know, kindergarten viewing.
I would have been 14 at the time. Yeah, 14.
In 1999, were you 14?
Yes, I was.
So I was 17.
Yes, so thank you very much. I was too young to be thinking about
I was 17. Yeah, so I was about 17, and then I was 18. Oh my god, you're 4 years younger than me. I thought you were 3 years younger than me. Yeah. Let's have this conversation off mic. Yeah, off air.
I love it. I remember thinking, when I started going to clubs, I was like, all these songs that I would have loved to have heard in a club, they don't play. But what we did get to hear in is Concrete. Remember we went to Concrete, and they were playing all the songs from this era.
God.
And it was honestly
one of the best.
Such a throwback. It was the best. It was like probably about 5 years ago. Yeah. That DJ.
It was because so this was a Beyonce versus Rihanna night at a club in Shoreditch, and they were playing Beyonce songs and then a Rihanna song, and then they were throwing in Destiny's Child, and we were just like
losing our shit.
Yeah. Oh my god. Because the other thing, Sonny, we've got to give you props here. You like, you know, Lose My Breath is not on this album, but Sonny can do the choreography so beautifully. Like the number of times this song has come on and you performed it, I've been left in awe. I'm normally the Beyonce of the group, but like this is the one time I step back and become Michelle because you take over. That is amazing. Oh my god. Like literally the circle formed around you and you didn't even realize.
That is such a. You know what it is? This takes me back to being when we were kids, and I used to make out the videos myself. I used to perform them in the lounge. I had like all the Seminate video down, the Bills, and that, honestly, I just think those sorts of memories, I feel sad for kids that can't have that experience these days, especially like queer kids get so much these days, don't they? They've got so many queens and stuff to follow. But
all right, Granddad, like they've got it all now. Let's all hand into the plate.
But they do, like it's so outlandish. True. It's like Gaga started that trend, and Nicki Minaj and Tim's like really like big personalities and like poppy kind. We didn't really have that kind of stuff. No,
exactly. I mean, like,
it's so much this, which was better, I think.
It's so much more marketed now, isn't it? Because like you can look like Gaga, or you can look, for example, like there's a great song by the Pussycat Dolls called React.
I love React.
And have you seen the video to it?
Oh my god, it's so sexual.
I love it.
I felt like after I first watched the video, I thought I was alone, but I was like, I just felt like, should I look behind my shoulder? Like, did someone see me watch that video?
I was watching it at home, honestly. My mum was like, had something religious on the TV, and I was like, because the thing was, do you know what was really funny? I've been dancing to that song in one of my exercise classes when
sexual,
and I didn't realize that was a Pussycat Dolls song, and then for some reason I saw it on a TikTok, and I was like, oh, that's what the song is called, because they don't actually say, like, they say the word react, but you wouldn't think that's the title of the song. No. But I remember like looking at the choreography thinking, I need to learn this, and I didn't realize that you can actually go to YouTube now and find the choreography step by step. Like the Pussycat Dolls themselves teach it to you, and there's loads of people doing tutorials and stuff, and it's so right. But whereas back in the day we had to like play it, pause it, try and do the move a million times, try not to make sure that our mums and dads and brothers and everybody didn't See, exactly. I mean, the orcs, because the video is in the living room. So, and this album all kind of built into that. And because the other thing I love as well is like when you would like listen to it, it would take you into the mindset of the video. And like for those 3 minutes or 5 minutes, you were in that hairdressing salon, you were in that crazy room,
or in front of all those cars doing the whole
just going round and round.
Name.
Honestly, it was such an incredible time.
I love that album.
So, like, do you think that this album was planned for building the Beyonce empire, or do you think that was just an unexpected consequence?
Good question, actually, because I think Matthew would have known that.
Matthew, like
Matthew,
uncle,
no.
You call him uncle. You show some respect on this podcast. Dare you, Matthew?
Well, actually, they cut him loose, didn't they? He is out of the family.
Well, yeah.
She was emancipated.
What?
I'm sure she was.
Are you sure you're not talking about Britney Spears?
She is still under that conservatorship. Yeah. But I'm sure Beyonce has cut ties with the dad because I know she gave him up as manager many years ago.
Yeah, I knew that.
But he cheated on Tina many times.
Auntie, really?
He's had 2 kids with other women.
Oh,
yes. Auntie
God.
Tina.
Basically, Haw is Punjabi for what the?
WTF.
Yeah,
like
God.
Say what? But she had, yes, I think she's cut ties with her dad because he would literally force her to work so hard. And I'm sure he did with the whole band as well.
Yeah.
But I think he would obviously have naturally believed in his daughter, but I don't think at that stage I thought Beyonce was going to be what she is now.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think any of us could have like really. I mean, there was definitely a construct in the band where Beyonce was front and center. There was never going to be any doubt that she would always get prominent. And there's that great Mad TV video which we're going to share with everybody, which you will see, which really kind of takes this concept to the next level. But at the same time, I think what was incredible about Beyonce is I think she learned so. Destiny's Child really was her training ground, wasn't it? She learned so much, and she learned how to like market herself.
That's a good way of thinking about it.
How to kind of build herself up. So when Crazy in Love came, that was just like
ready.
She was ready, and she just took it to the next level. And then from there, it just kind of grew and grew. And then it was just like a natural thing where I think she kind of like blazed the trail for everybody else. Whereas like kind of you've been part of a super girl group, and then you've got your own amazing solo career. She also did acting. Dream Girls, Austin Powers.
I still haven't seen.
Oh my God, Austin Powers is. I mean, yeah, Beyonce the actress.
I hate that song that she did for Austin Powers. So
work it out.
I don't like it. Not my vibe.
All the bubblegum pink.
Yeah, it was just. I remember the gold outfit, the big afro as well.
Yeah, I think. Do you know what that was problem? That is problematic in that she was. They were trying to go for that kind of blaxploitation film kind of vibe. I just think like Beyonce as an actress, no one's really kind of understood how to manage her. No, but because we say this because I know a lot of people like Mariah Carey, for example, Glitter. Everyone's kind of like.
What was the other film that she did that was really good?
But she was in Precious, and I remember that.
I loved her.
I saw. So another humble brag alert. So if you haven't had a swig of water, now's your time. I was at the London Film Festival, and I had tickets to see Precious before it released in the UK. So Gabori Sidibe actually did she was there in person. They brought her out at the end.
Is she the lead actress?
The lead actress who plays Precious, and like Monica was amazing in that as well. Monica. Not Monica. What's the name of the actress I'm thinking of?
Who are you thinking of?
It's eluded me. I will remember it shortly. Yeah. But I remember Mariah Carey's in the film as well, and that took me I had no idea about this film. The backstory for the film was a friend of mine had got tickets, and then he couldn't go last minute, so I dragged my younger brother along reluctantly. He was like, "Oh, I don't," and I was like, "Look, I've got spare tickets. London Film Festival. It's completely sold out. Just come along for the ride." And then like I remember when Mariah Carey was on screen, it took me a while to realize, oh my God, that's Mariah Carey, and she's so good because Lee Daniels knew exactly how to bring it out of her. I think in the same way we have yet to see someone do that for Beyonce. Yes, like with Gaga and A Star Is Born, that was incredible. I still need
that's on Netflix now. I need to watch it.
It's now on Netflix.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a go. I
love Gaga, but she's
Gaga.
Brilliant in that, and like the way that they managed to make her an actress and not just a performer. And I think with Beyonce as well, we still need someone to do that, to kind of tease that performer out of her, because I think she's got. If this is how she can sing and create and be a cultural reset, imagine what she could do with her acting potential.
No, I think you're so, because I was kind of thinking, oh, I don't think she can do it, but she plays a character, because if you think about her in interviews, especially early ones, you see her personality, and it is. I think this is one of the reasons why you don't really get to see much of her personality other than in her music now. Yeah. Because she's a weirdo. She's a bit strange. I think she needs to be kind of filtered, because I think she is so competitive and so driven and has got such a fire that they have to contain that a little bit. And that's why it probably comes through in her performances. But there is such a difference, and she's quite reserved and she doesn't have that same presence in a lot of the interviews that I've seen of her. So I feel like she is playing a role on stage when she's performing. So she should be able to act as well in the same way. And
I think so. I think she could channel that energy into it. Another thing about Beyonce as well, I was reading her interview in Vogue UK. She covered it. She was on the cover of British Vogue for November 2020, I think. And do you know what she does? Fashion Friday. She's like, me and the kids on a Friday, we go around and we call it. I was reading that. I was like, excuse you,
excuse me.
Like but do you know what? The only other person,
the only other
person who I will
Tina Knowles.
I will let. Yeah, Tina Auntie wanted to do it as well. I'd let Tina do it, and Beyonce. But I was just like, oh my god! I was like, Beyonce, you need to be in Fashion Friday. Wow. Like, you know, for my 10-year anniversary, that's who I want. Beyonce putting it out there in the universe now. Tidal, if you're listening, please let's start the paperwork now, and like maybe in 4 years' time it'll be clear.
God.
But it's amazing what Beyonce's become, and she's created this kind of like blueprint.
Yes.
And the way she's opened doors, and even now, like, you know, the way like last year when she teamed up with Megan Thee Stallion for the remix, and you know, Lemonade, and all like Lemonade is Telephone is so iconic.
So many
Lemonade is so incredible. All her albums.
I still haven't listened to that visual album.
It's incredible.
I need to go. You know what happened with me with Beyonce? When it got past, so the first album was Dangerously in Love, wasn't it? And then the second one, what was that one? I can't even remember it now.
So Crazy in Love, and then was it? I
can't remember the next album after that.
I'm such a bad fan. It's something dangerous, something. No,
Dangerously in Love was the first one.
Dangerously in Love was the first one.
Wasn't it?
No, Crazy in Love was the first.
No, that was the first single, but the album was
by the way,
Dangerously.
Can the Beehive please don't attack us?
Oh my god! Yeah,
like
we're gonna get told off.
You know, there
I loved but basically, I loved her first solo album, and I loved a couple after that. But then it became too hood for me. I just didn't get it. Maybe it's because I'm still wanting the whole Destiny's Child kind of era, and that's obviously long gone. So I just didn't move on with the times. But I still think she is an epic performer.
Absolutely.
An amazing singer.
I remember there was this like GIF once or something where there was Beyonce, Gaga, Adele, and Sia, who've now cancelled. I can't remember why, but she's been cancelled for some reason.
She's been cancelled.
I'll have to. Yeah, this is the thing. People get cancelled now, and you're like, oh no, I love so and so, and then you realise they said something awful or did something awful, and you're like, why the hell did you have to say that? You've ruined everything.
Like JK ruined herself.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we don't talk about that turf. But I remember that these 4 women in particular are responsible for like the most music sale. They actually sell music. They're, you know, kind of innovators as well. Yeah. And they're the creative that they've kind of
bring that to the forefront.
And then we only really appreciate it when we see a crap creative. Yeah. Like you'll see like a Rita Ora, and then like, you know, Rita Ora is going to be the punch bag here. But when I see a Rita Ora and then you put her next to a Beyonce, you're like, Rita Ora is like completely bland.
She's Rihanna's understudy.
Yeah. Best comment ever. That's what I was trying to prompt you to say. Whereas, like, you know, when you look at Beyonce, like, she is political. She's, you know, she's taking the kind of like movement forward. She's doing so much, and you just think to yourself, wow, that is an incredible person. Anyway, so I think, well, do you know what? I'm going to take it to the bridge as Rodney Jerkins. No, exactly. So you have to whisper.
Take
you
it to the bridge.
Be like, Bhushan, take it to the bridge.
Bhushan, take it to the bridge.
So let's take the bridge. So the writing on the wall is that rare cultural phenomenon that speaks for volumes without actually saying a word. The word iconic is bandied around so freely these days, but the writings on the wall is a truly iconic album in every aspect. And you know, anyone who wants to debate that,
we will
fight you. Exactly. We've got the razor blades and the baseball bats.
Damn right,
ready.
Vaseline's out.
Mm-hmm. So the era that this album is from is something that we will never see the likes of again. Sorry, millennials. No, actually, we are millennials. Sorry, what am I talking about? Sorry, generation. Whoever's below us, those people. It is so rare to have so much talent showcased in one place. The influence and impact this album has can be heard in the chartbusters and floor fillers of today. Sometimes quite literally, they've like borrowed a bridge or like, you know, some sort of verse or something from there. So it is a testament, pun intended, to the Destiny's Child anthems that they are still as powerful and relevant as ever. So if you call yourself a true Zone 1 ho, right after this episode ends, right at the very end, you need to go and listen to this album in full and show it the respect it deserves. Thou shall not be a basic bitch. So you join us now in the OnlyFans lounge. So we've got our little tipple. Sunny's got a glass of water with a big lime.
It's a lemon, and just very green lemon.
That's a huge, like almost an entire lemon. in that glass.
Because the thing is, I get 3 lemons and they go out of date, so I have to use big pieces. So
Well, when life gives you lemon,
make lemonade.
Make lemonade. Exactly.
You are Becky with Bhushan with the good hair.
Bhushan with less hair than he had when when the album released.
Okay, so Bhushan, I want to ask you in the lounge, what is your favorite video of the album?
My favorite video of the album. So I think it's got to be
Other than Say My Name.
Are there other videos?
That's a good point, actually.
There are other videos. What? I think it would probably be Bills, because I just love that
styling.
Yeah, it's just everything about it. Like I said, I was watching it the other day and I was like, right, I've got a lilac t-shirt I need to go and wear, or I need to, all the shades of lilac and lavender. I was like, yes, I need all of those. So what about yourself? You said that.
My favorite video, other than Say My Name, is probably I will say the only other one was Jumpin' Jumpin' and Bugaboo, so it has to be Jumpin' Jumpin'.
Really. Jumpin' was all the white out, because I remember.
Was it white?
I think so. Do you know what? Because I remember as well that Destiny Child performed at the Mobos that year. And they won an award. They won best. They were the first group to be called up, and Victoria Beckham presented their award. I remember they did this amazing performance of Bugaboo, where they had all these white curtains, and then they drop, and then the girls kind of walk around them and be and they were wearing all white, and they were doing the handkerchief top, the bustier, the halter, and it was just incredible.
Talking about the Bugaboo, you just reminded me. I'll tell you the quick story. So I remember when we were doing karaoke at a work party once, and my friend decided to pick a Destiny's Child song, and I said, that's fine, I know them all, it's fine. Yeah. She picked Bugaboo. I was like, you can't pick. No, she picked Jumpin' Jumpin'.
Jumpin' Jumpin'.
I was like, you can't pick Jumpin' Jumpin'. It's too fast. You know how out of breath I was? And there were people, senior people coming in, watching me and her sing this song. It was such an amazing car crash.
Oh, she ruined your showcase.
Which, to be fair, it was amazing. And then we did Thong Song after that.
You did what?
Thong Song.
Oh, God.
And she was twerking it up while I was singing. This is at a work party. Karaoke gets deep in my teeth.
Oh, goodness.
Anyway, so I want to ask you another thing, actually. Did you watch that interview that Kelly Rowland did with Andy Cohen?
No, I hadn't seen it.
It's amazing. But she was talking about one of the iconic songs that we've been talking about from this album. And it was called Bugaboo. But what I just lost. What am I asking you?
Are you sure there's no alcohol in that lemon and water? Honestly, sure that's what vodka. Oh my God.
Okay, so there was a really hilarious interview that I saw with Kelly Rowland and Andy Cohen from Watch What Happens Live. What is her least favorite song from the album?
From the album? Is it Sweet 16?
What was wrong with Sweet 16?
No, I don't.
Because she was definitely not a virgin.
Nokia N95 with the Excel spreadsheet.
Oh my God.
Or was it Sweet 16?
No, it was Bugaboo.
Oh, Bugaboo, really?
Yeah. Do you know why she didn't like it?
Why?
She couldn't sing it live. That's
why.
No, she didn't say that. She just said it was too fast. And that song is too fast.
It is.
All of the albums, it's too hard to perform live for them.
It's true. It is kind of the pace of that song. And also that song is quite aggressive as well. And then the rest of it...
The lyrics are hilarious.
The lyrics are... it's brilliant, honestly. Break my knee so I can move. It's break my lease. But we were always singing break my lead.
I was saying break my lead.
Oh my God. Oh no, I was break my knee so I can move. And I was like, damn girl, you've been encased in cement. And it's no, actually break my lease so I can move house. See, this is before we knew about property, honestly. How little we knew, honestly. Oh gosh. Well, do you know what else Kelly Rowland said in that interview? I just remembered I did see it.
Tell me.
She said, do you know what, Bhushan? The podcast is yours. We hope you've enjoyed listening to The Podcast Is Mine. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast and share it with a friend. You can also follow us on all the social. On Instagram, TikTok, Facebook and YouTube, we are The Podcast Is Mine. And on Twitter, we are Podcast Is Mine. Or you can email us at thepodcastismine@gmail.com. Oh, and one more thing. The podcast is mine.